Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with another Kamihime project video. This one I'm doing because it seems that there's a lot of people that don't seem to know how this mechanic works, so I do believe this calls for a guide. But anyways, this is going to be about the Heavenly Awakening system, because there's honestly a little bit that goes into it just to prep for it, and then the grind. It's simple, but it takes up to 3 months. Longer if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to start covering a little bit about that. Starting off, it's something that you unlock by going through the main quest. If you have not cleared the entire main quest, in fact, I'm here because this is one of the better grind spots in order to get some stuff. But if you have not cleared main quest, you have to, because I do believe it's this one. No, it's not Ruins. This is the next one. So it's this one. Symbols connected to the future. You have to finish this entire thing. All the way, chapter 75. 74 is the last fight in the game, by the way. And if you are not able to solo ultimate raids, as in these raids right here, like if you're not able to solo ultimate raid, you probably won't be able to beat that. So that's something to know. You should be able to solo Ragnarok to be safe, but to fully do the most efficient grind for the Heavenly Awakening, you probably want to be able to solo a Guardian raid just to even give that a shot. Now, after you've cleared main quest part 1, part 2 starts opening up. You go through there, and you clear all the stories on this one. Primarily the character that you want to actually unlock. I cleared them both anyway. Doing so will unlock their respective trial of Heavenly Awakening. And that's where you go in here and you do these fights. So, starting off, and I've saved my runs just for this video, but starting off, you could probably do this first one, because it's a little bit weaker than the final boss of part 2. But the other two are definitely harder, and that's why they have higher ratings. Your main reason for doing this is to get all these drops. However, there's something unique to each one. For example, if it's Nikke's version, you will get the medals for Nikke's face on it. If it's Cybel's version, you will get Cybel's medals right here. And other characters will get added along the lines. The thing is, this is the only section that's going to drop these medals. You can technically get everything else except these character medals from anything else, like the events or the raids sometimes drop them too. But these character medals have to come from the trials. And that's the reason why this takes such a long time. Because if you're really trying to grind these things out, there's only 2 ways to get the character medals. Through here, or you go into the shop and you trade for those. And the only way to trade for them is to get those crystals. You might be able to get some of these crystals from other sources. But what you want to do is still grind that trial. Now, I'm a little bit behind, so of course it's going to take a while, but I'm saving up for more characters at this point. They tend to release more characters, I think, every 4 or 5 months. It will speed up as they go along, I believe. But this is the only other way to get these character medals, by trading these things. And you are also going to need to know how to trade some of this stuff here anyways, because you will need to trade for these rainbow ones, which never drop at all. So that's something to know. Now, just to give you an example of how the fight looks, I'm going to go into it. But the thing is, though, normally you're supposed to do this with elemental advantage. And since Cybel's a wind character, her trial wants you to use wind characters. But if you were strong enough, you could still basically go through with whatever team. Like, this team is strong enough to actually do it. But they'll even give you a warning before you go into the fight anyway, so you'll know what element off of that. And some people may have seen clearing this before. I did a video about that when it came out. But anyways, the main thing with this fight is the fact that it's going to resist the damage that isn't elemental advantage. So Since I'm not using win characters, even though they could clear it, I'm not going to be able to land debuffs that aren't guaranteed, as you can see. And then on top of that too, I'm going to do reduced damage. But the thing is though, you basically want to be able to at least go through this fight and take it out. And the main thing with this is that it is about as hard as a Guardian raid, so that's why I'm giving you a heads up. You might want to be able to solo a Guardian raid before you can think about taking on the 3rd level of it, because that's how hard it's going to be. And sorry if I'm not talking too much for this part, because I'm kind of trying to focus a little bit. But as you can see too, if you have the right setup, you can still do a pretty substantial amount of damage. And I don't necessarily need a full burst in order to actually finish this fight off, but that's just me though. But regardless of how the fight goes or what you're doing, the main thing is just to try and like be able to clear it. I don't remember if you can actually use an elixir in this fight, but try to avoid doing so. No, this will definitely finish it off, because I usually finish it by turn 2. And if not, well, I got one more hit. I probably didn't finish it because I normally burst on turn 1. But anyways, as you can see, you've gone through it, you got these drops. This is the hardest part of the Heavenly Awakening. I cannot stress it enough, getting these, because you're going to need 300 of that character's crystal. The rest of these, you'll need varying degrees of them, but as you go along, you'll see the different lists and all that. Unfortunately, I have done some of the lists for Cybele, so I'd have to look at Nikke's in order to get the full thing. But just by clearing it once, you get a weekly mission. It'll give you some of those rainbow crystals to trade for the character realm shards, so that will help out a little bit, especially for later ones. But you have a Heavenly Awakening tab right here. Anybody that's capable of doing it will pop up on this screen. That's if you've already unlocked the ability to go through the trials. And if you're trying to go through it, you have to either have the specific character, like in the case of these 2 Unleashed characters, or later on, you will need to awaken a character. And I know one character that definitely did need awakened is, well, I could have showed her on that screen, but this is the first one that comes to mind because she's very powerful once you get her. But one character that did need awakened was definitely Amaterasu. So you definitely want to you would have to awaken Amaterasu before you can give her Heavenly Awakening. Heavenly Awakening is kind of like a second one, if you want to be honest. But some characters didn't even have an awakening to begin with. So going through the screen, you can see my progress on here. Once you complete it, you actually get these boosts to the character, regardless of if you finished it or not. So that said, just by doing these steps, I've just made Cybele a little bit stronger, like reinforcing her abilities and giving her some more base stats. But as you can see, step 10 always needs a character shards. And I'm basically stuck on all the rainbow things right now. But step 10 always needs a character shards. And they'll tell you the release conditions for all that too. The episodes is clearing their part of the Heavenly Trials. Goes without saying. Max level, max break limit also goes without saying. But looking at a fresh screen who had never finished, there's multiple stages for each part. And as you can see, I have the crystal grief right here, and I need more crystals of grief after that, and that would be these things right here, these little light blue things on the side. They show the item you need, and you basically just grind that out. Remember, these rainbow ones you need to trade for, though. Excuse me. These rainbow ones you need to trade for, and that's the thing. Like, this rainbow one takes, I do believe, 100 of the one with the gold background that matches it, which would be like up here. And you already need 100 in order to complete its normal steps. So, essentially, you need like 400 of those total. But you would need 400 of this gold drops total in order to finish the stages. These basically drop on their own, these little fragmented ones, so just worry about it that way. Now, again, there's a trade shop if you need to trade for anything. And the main thing with that is that if you really are behind on some things, you can probably grind some extra raids or whatever. There's also like events that give you some of these materials as well. So there's that. In fact, considering that I'm only focused on Cybele for the time being, if I wanted to, I could trade all these crystals of compassion, like these fragments, for the actual crystal. So there's that. Now, once you do that, you get enough to eventually get these rainbow ones. So, goes without saying right there. Remember that crystal 1 is where you get all these. Crystal 2 is where you trade for all the character stuff. So, that's the main thing with that. Now, why would you want to Heavenly Awaken? We have to go back to the screen for that one, because this is pretty major. Once you see the enhanced contents. I think I gotta yeah. Once you see the enhanced contents. First off, base stats are actually pretty increased, like pretty well increased. However, you notice that their ability set has changed, and it's much stronger. So, by comparison, Heavenly Awakening is very good. Like, for starters, Cybele gets a little bit of abilities altered and whatnot. She's able to reuse some things and everything, give different buffs and all that. There's two major reasons why you would do a Heavenly Awakening. First is this Link skill, which is one-time use abilities just like some of the souls have, like the S-Class souls. Very powerful. Very powerful. Second, just having them gives this one passive right here, which basically gives final damage increase to everybody of the same element, along with a number of other effects, even if they're in sub-slot. So even if you do not use the character, it's worth getting their Heavenly Awakening, just for final damage increase. That final damage increase will stack with other final damage increases. So if you have like Timepiece, if you're somehow using a Lucent Weapon, if you say have a Soul Weapon on top of that, and of course there's also Magic Power. All those different final damage increases stack, so you will start seeing your final damage start going way up with all these different sources of it now. But just having them finish is free damage. It's also going to change their animation, their look, all that. So there's that as well. But anyways, that's all for this, because this guide isn't that as extensive as the other ones, because it's for the most part straightforward. It just takes a long time. But anyways, that's all for this. More guides will come soon, because that's something that I promised, and I'm still steadily working on those. But this is one that's been kind of requested quite a few times, so I wanted to get this one out of the way. But anyways, that's all for now, guys. More will come soon, and take care.